Idaho teacher ordered to remove "Everyone is welcome here" sign from her classroom. Why would anyone do this?
Content neutral and conducive to a positive learning environment. That's the policy.
Right. And I was told that it's not content neutral, that it's a personal opinion.
The problem that you're going to, or the problem we're going to keep arriving at, that a lot of Trump supporters don't seem to understand, is that the things that the Republican Party claims to be against, like affirmative action, DEI, racial bias in favor of minorities, etc., the versions of these things that they think exist don't actually exist. In reality, the Republican Party is against the concept of equality and kindness. Like, Republicans are like the villains in a children's cartoon. They're like the people who in a Sesame Street episode would have to be like educated on the importance of empathy and sharing and stuff like that. So in reality, when you are like made victim of their policies, you're not getting rid of DEI or whatever you have to get rid of stuff like kindness. Like, statements like "be kind" are now considered woke, because of course they are. They always were. That was always the point. Like, obviously, you know? Remember that one bishop who spoke to Trump advance? Everyone on the right lost their mind, and all that bishop asked for was like kindness. Be merciful. Like, literally just like be Jesus. Be Christ-like.
A West Ada school teacher is being told to remove 2 signs of inclusion from her middle school classroom because the school district says it violates policy. Sarah Inama has taught world civilization to 6.
I know you guys are like doing the sin of empathy bit, but I hope you understand that right now the sin of empathy line is unironically the main argumentative strategy of the online right. Not so much in person and in politics, but online. Like, you know that one study that right-wingers are always misinterpreting, where it shows that left-leaning people care like more about people outside their immediate orbit? Right-wingers assume this means that left-leaning people care more about strangers than they do their own family. The study was like poorly laid out, the way they visualized the data, unclear. Right-wingers deliberately latch onto the misinformation because they like to believe that they're the defenders of like friends and family. Have you met a right-winger who cares about their friends and family? I haven't. I've met a lot of grifters who hate their wives and who don't raise their children. I've met a lot of people who are clearly friendless and compensate for the hole in their lives with Pepe posting and lolicon. I've seen a lot of that. I haven't seen a lot of people who are like stalwart defenders of those close to them. In reality, they really are like gunning against the sin of empathy. That's like the actual thing they're upset by. They don't like the idea of kindness. Have you ever seen a right-winger who defines the way they spread their messaging through kindness? There are tons of left-leaning and center-moderate whatever people who lean on the, like, through empathy, kindness, and decency and charity, I will spread the message, the worth, the value of my word. Literally 0 people like that in the modern right, because they don't believe in it.
6th graders at Lewis and Clark Middle School for the past 4 years. And for the past 4 years, Sarah had these signs up in her classroom. One that said, "Everyone in this room is welcome, important, accepted, respected, encouraged, valued, and equal," written over the colors of the rainbow. And another that said,
The findings of that study weren't reported poorly. It just wasn't written with the expectation it would be a construed in bad faith. This might be a bit unfair of me, but I think that if you're publishing studies that are that relevant to the current political zeitgeist, you have to construct them with an understanding of how they'll be construed and misconstrued publicly. We've seen this happen time and time again, where messaging that should have been kept to academia spreads. It leaks containment into the real world, and it goes poorly because, for one, all academia is left-wing, because to be left-wing is to be closer to truth. Academia, in the pursuit of truth, brings you to the left wing. So the bias there is really more just a, cosmic circumstance than it is actual bias. But you still have to be good with your messaging, You have to communicate that data well.
Everyone is welcome here, showing hands of various skin tones, hearts in the palm, those kind of things. Pretty benign signs if you look at them. And before we go any further with this, the sign with the rainbow colors, not the same as an LGBTQ flag, although Sarah says she's very much an ally. She just doesn't advertise it in her classroom. So for 4 years, these signs have survived sans harassment. Nobody said a word about them. That is, until about a month ago.
It is really cool how right-wingers pretend that everything was fine up until like 2012 when the left went crazy and started grooming children or whatever. But if you sent a modern-day right-winger to a elementary school classroom in 1993, they would get triggered by like 90% of the shit up on the walls. Everyone is included. Woke. Rainbow. Woke. Like a group of multicultural students holding hands, like in a sort of post-Cold War, like everyone on Earth together, we're gonna make it through this. Woke. They would be mad with like everything there. They would want to turn every like warm, friendly McDonald's not McDonald's, sorry, every warm, friendly kindergarten play place into like a modern day McDonald's, where they went from the red and yellow to like the gray box. You know what I'm talking about.
My building administration came to me during my lunch period and told me that they needed to be taken down by the end of the day. They told me that they were in violation of district policy because in today's political environment, they're considered a personal opinion.
Did they say somebody complained about them?
No. I asked if anyone had complained about them, and they said, no, we just want to protect you from that if that were to happen.
In this political environment.
40 posters that say hello in 15 language and have a kid in kente cloth holding hands with a kid in a kimono. Literally, yeah, because the right wing is like they're opposed to curiosity, inclusion, and education as a concept. So the idea that like even the concept of like people from different cultures can get along, that's multiculturalism, aka what Jews/feminists have done to destroy the West, aka like woke or whatever. Like it's just basically what I'm saying is they're demons and they're not people, you know? But it's not my fault you chose to build a political ideology out of vice signaling, you know? Like some girl in 10th grade told you that you were being toxic or whatever, and now you get your kicks by virtue signaling to other men about what a bad person you are. Like this isn't my fault, okay? You're the one role-playing as Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
That is not acceptable.
Yeah, I was told a couple things. That everyone is welcome here is not something that everybody believes. So that's what makes it a personal opinion.
You were told this?
Mm-hmm.
That not everybody believes everyone is welcome?
That's great.
Okay. And who told you this? Who was the one saying that not everyone believes this?
My building administrator.
Sorry, your history textbook claims that the Holocaust happened. Not everyone agrees with that, so I'm afraid we're going to have to rescind that lesson.
And district personnel.
Face to face, they told you this?
Mm-hmm.
What was your response to that?
Because I was told to take it down by the end of the day, I did so. And the following few days, I just was so unsettled by it. And so I went back into
the school admin is probably afraid of a lawsuit from a lunatic right-wing parent. Nope, trust me. School administrators are Hitler. This is their personal grievance. This is some like freak private equity motherfucker or someone who invested heavily who's been biding their time for the opportunity to start like flexing political power locally. School administration, those officials are horrible. Not all of them, of course. There are some good ones. But there's a reason why when you look at the ranks of school administrators, some of them are teachers. A lot of them are like finance, real estate, business, or advertising guys.
Classroom and put it back up. And I emailed my principal and said, I don't agree. I don't agree that this is a personal opinion. I feel like this is the basis of public education.
And what was the response to that?
They came to talk to me and again asked me to take it down. And I said, I'm not interested in taking it down.
That's when the district higher-ups got involved. In an email exchange with Chief Academic Officer Marcus Myers, he highlighted the section of district policy he says Sarah's signs violated, including the advancement of individual beliefs and district facilities.
This doesn't mean anything. School property should not be used by personnel for the advancement of individual beliefs. Remember how many times I've said, this is how authoritarians work. They don't lay out clear rules that say you can't be black. They lay out vague rules that mean nothing so they can selectively enforce them against their enemies. Advancement of individual belief, what does that mean? It's everything. Literally everything is that. Even the contents of history textbooks are just like the intersubjective findings and determinations of a body of experts that contribute to the writing of the textbook. Like there's no, you're teaching, you're a teacher.
Facilities should be content neutral. But more specifically, Myers pointed to Idaho Code, the Dignity
Idaho,
and Non-Discrimination in Public Education Act, which says district employees and students shall respect the dignity of others and acknowledge the right of others to express differing opinions. And they're saying that putting up a poster that says everyone is welcome is a violation.
What do you think it'll take for right-wingers to realize this against free speech? They don't care. They do not. You can't own them with the hypocrisy. They're openly anti-free speech. We're going to talk later about Mahmoud, but like they're literally like Trump government officials are flatly saying like free speech has its limits. It doesn't matter if you committed a crime, you express something contrary to the interests of the state. They don't care.
Of that?
Yeah, because everyone is welcome here, especially since the poster emphasizes in regards to skin color with the images of the hands, that is considered something that people have differing views on.
And the differing view would be racist?
I mean, I can't even wrap my head around what other differing view of it would be. I mean, except for something that's exclusionary. So everyone is welcome
stupid
here.
Teacher, I can understand
It
it
isn't a personal
easily.
statement. It's non-discrimination. It's verbatim on our Explorer Way posters.
That's true. Sarah says these posters, made by the middle school principals and put up in every classroom, lay out what it means to be a Lewis.
Wait, this is still here? Kind, welcome others and embrace diversity? This is still put up, but the other sign is the one they're taking down? Okay. You know what bothers me? I really hate the fact that liberals, even lefties, to this day, they still say shit like, you're the one actually advancing politics when you say that diversity isn't welcome. I'm just like adopting the neutral position. I don't like that because like you have to acknowledge being anti-racist is a political position. Being pro-diversity is a political position, you know? It's like people say like, you know, you're anti-trans, being pro-trans, that's not the political position. You just accept that they're there. Well, accepting that trans people are there is one thing. Believing that they're valid is a political position. You can't prevent evil people from destroying the world by advancing the idea that not destroying the world is the neutral option, because it's not. It's the morally good option, and you're fighting actively for it. You can't aggressively fight for neutrality. You have to take the position, you know what I mean? Like, you can't... It's all political.
Lewis and Clark Explorer, welcome others and embrace diversity. Isn't everyone is welcome here the same thing?
It is welcoming others and it is embracing diversity. And these are the students that are in our community. I just feel like, as a teacher,
wanting to feed children is political? Yes, that's literally true. It's just a good political position. I don't like the euphemism of like making it political is when you introduce politics into a thing. The politics were already there, you know? You're making okay, like here's an example that I've been grappling with a little bit, okay? You know Monster Hunter Wilds, the new Monster Hunter game, which I've been playing and enjoying? A lot of right-wingers like the game because it's, well, for one, it's super popular, so a lot of everyone likes the game. Also, it's Japanese, and there's, like, hot girls in it. Okay, I get it. I think they're hot, too. Thank you. But, like, I've seen some of the online... You get the normal rigmarole of right-wingers being like, is this woke? But the underlying, like, conceit of being a hunter in Monster Hunter is you're, like, a superhumanly strong heat-seeking missile that the guild fires at anything that's big and scary, but in order to legally hunt you have to be authorized by the guild, otherwise you're poaching. And the story is like, hey, we're here to like preserve the real environment, you know? We're not here to disrupt it. We're only here to cull like aberrations to the environment or direct threats. So the game's message, even if it's a very silly game and not realistic, is fundamentally pro-environmentalist, right? Like the idea, the underlying message, even if it's done in like an over-the-top anime way, right, is you know, like this has to be done in a way that accommodates the natural sort of ebb and flow of the environment. But people are still arguing like, well, is it woke? Motherfucker, you can't escape it, and you never will. You can't escape it. You have to win. The movie didn't understand that message. I didn't know there was a Monster Hunter movie. I don't think I'll ever see that.
And I feel like probably a lot of teachers share this sentiment. I would do anything to protect my students. I love all of them unconditionally. We protect them from danger. Quite literally would take a bullet for these students. And this is the one small thing that I feel like I can do to speak out against this and stand up for them, to protect them from being affected by racist sentiments affecting their classroom. Find it hard to grapple with.
Yeah, it is like this, yeah, where people argue whether or not, like, any given adaptation made a superhero woke, when literally go back and read any superhero comic from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 30s, 20s, they're always woke and they always have been. Literally, with, like, no exceptions. You can literally pick up a Superman comic from the Jim Crow era, where he's like, "Not so fast, racist man! You can't treat others differently just because they're of different skin tones. Don't you know on the inside, everyone's the same? Even me, Superman!" And then he'd, like, do a wind-up punch and hit the racist guy who's just a regular human, and it wouldn't instantly atomize his entire body. But it would just kind of, like, knock him out, you know? There's literally no getting away from this. The real tourists are and always have been the right wing, because fascists have never made art like this. They just never have. Literally, you go the entire bedrock. I'm not even just talking about black culture or whatever, because that's an obvious win. Like, for me on the anti-fascist angle, I'm talking like literally everything. They never make anything. They're vultures. They exist. They're just tourists. They sit on top of media that they don't understand and complain when it continues to be the way that it always has been. Why am I on this? We were watching the other thing. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
The fact that the reason why this poster needs to come down is because there are people outside of our school that disagree with it.
Sarah says she realizes it's just a poster, and she knows her students already know they are welcome. But this is about principle. She told us it's important to not be complacent.
I mean, it's not just about principle either, right? It's also kind of like, what does it mean when the administration is making you take down signs like everyone is welcome here? I mean, like, obviously it is just a sign, but how long until Libs of TikTok doxes this teacher? Probably already happened. There was literally a Superman radio show that helped take down the KKK. Not just a radio show, he did that in the comics too. I just think it's funny that if you went back to the 1930s, the American Nazis, before we joined the war, of course, the American Nazis would have been saying the exact same shit about Superman. Like, they would have been like, oh man, Superman back in the 20s or whatever was good, but this shit where Superman, I don't know, punches Hitler or like punches this slave or whatever, that shit's, whoa, it's literally like, it's, the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's exactly the same. He was created by Jews. Yeah. But they wouldn't just say that. They would pretend that there was originally something good, because a lot of the American Nazis in the 1930s would have grown up reading Superman comics before becoming Nazis, right? So they would have done the same thing. It's like the Spider-Man thing, right? 1993, watching a Spider-Man cartoon when you're a kid. Spider-Man says, remember, treat everyone equally, regardless of the race. Whoa, Spider-Man! 2025, watching a Spider-Man movie. Remember, treat everyone the same, regardless of the race. Oh, they made it fucking woke! They made it woke! Isn't Superman from 38? Isn't he from a little bit before that? I thought he was from the late 20s. Maybe I'm totally off on that. Superman first comic. Huh, 38, okay. Well, you know what? The war started in 39. Me reading Superman comics in 1938. Wow, what a glorious testament to the glory of the white man. Me reading Superman comics in 1939. What the fuck? They made it woke! Type shit.